So this is an adult bedtime story. If you're interested in being kept informed about future adult bedtime stories, just subscribe below, and if you enjoy this bedtime story, find it helpful, please leave a comment and give it a thumbs up as well. So I hope you enjoy this story. And as you listen to me, I'm going to tell you this adult bedtime story. And this adult bedtime story is therapeutic, as well as helping you fall asleep. So as you listen to me, with your eyes closed, you can begin to relax. And you'll relax as deeply and comfortably as you can right now. And as the experience goes on, so you will relax even deeper and even more comfortably. To the point where, as you continue listening to this adult bedtime story, you'll discover yourself falling asleep without even noticing. And you'll continue the story perhaps in a dream. Or perhaps you'll get through to near the end of the story and just drift off asleep, deeply and comfortably, getting the appropriate sleep through the night. And so as you continue listening to me with your eyes closed, I'm going to tell you a story where you are the main character. And it can be a little bit like a lucid dream, where you're aware of the story playing out around you, aware of what you can see, what you can hear, what you can feel. And so you go on a journey one day, and as you take this journey, you're walking out through the woods, and while you walk through the woods, you're wondering about different things. You're wondering about what it is you've got to do later. You're wondering about a conversation that you'd had earlier in the previous day. You're wondering about someone you're going to see later in the week. And a part of you is also aware of the sounds around you, is also aware of the feeling of each footstep you take as you walk through the woods, is also aware of the sounds of the rustling leaves, and noticing the dancing light as it shimmers through the trees. And while you're out on this nice and relaxed walk, you're searching for a lake. You've never visited this lake before, but you've been told that if you come out into this wood, you can discover a lake that will help you find some inner discovery. And you're curious what inner discovery you can get by finding this lake. So as you're out walking around, you notice rabbits hopping around, you notice birds flying, you notice butterflies and bees going about their daily business, popping in and out of different flowers. And you don't know what kind of inner discovery you're going to gain at the lake, or what it is about the lake that's going to help you find that inner discovery. You just know this is what you've been told. So you walk along the path, going deeper and deeper into the woods. And as you go deeper and deeper into the woods, so you relax more. with the experience. And while you relax more with the experience, that kind of daydream relaxation that you have as you're walking along, where your mind is wandering and feeling pleasant, where the day just feels so pleasant that you just feel so relaxed. And while you wander along, you hear someone down the path. So you keep walking, you're curious who that person is going to be. And as you get closer, you can hear their voice speaking louder. And then as you approach, you notice a man dressed in indescript clothing. A man who could just blend in anywhere. He even seems to almost blend in here, if it wasn't for his talking. And because you're walking through the woods and there's only you and this man, it's only polite to say hello as you walk past. And as you walk past and you say hello, so the man responds to you. Do you know where you're going here in the middle of nowhere? The man asks. And you think you understand what he said, but you feel a little confusion. And you tell him, yes, you're trying to find the lake. And he responds, yes, you're trying to find the lake here in the middle of nowhere, and nowhere is where you're going. And you'll know where you're going when you discover that nowhere is here. And here in the middle of nowhere is nowhere. And some people try to travel to somewhere. And other people try to travel to anywhere. But you're not trying to go somewhere or anywhere. You're here nowhere. And as you walk around here nowhere, you should be able to find the lake that you're looking for. Because the lake you're looking for is nowhere, but in your mind. And with that, the man began to walk away. And left you feeling a little confused. And so you continued to walk along the path, looking for the lake. And you didn't know where you were going exactly, but you knew that you would find the lake following this path. So you continued looking along the path, going deeper and deeper into the woods. And as you relaxed deeper and deeper into the woods, so the woods appeared to become thicker and denser, and that made them become slightly darker. But that helped you to notice as you turned a corner on the path that there was a clearing off in the distance because it was much brighter over there. And you didn't pick up the pace or speed up in any way just because you'd noticed the clearing. But you now knew where you were going. You were confident that in that clearing you would find the lake that you're searching for. And as you were walking along towards that clearing, so you had the words of that man going around in your head. Nowhere, somewhere, anywhere, you thought to yourself, quizzically, nowhere, somewhere, anywhere. You didn't know exactly what he was on about. But in the same way that when you meet someone and you can't remember their name, but you know their name, and the harder you try to remember their name, the harder it is to remember. And then you just put it out of your mind and you carry on with other things. And then their name springs up in your mind a little while later. You knew that the same thing would probably happen here. That if you just carry on your journey and you put what that man said out of your mind, any answers will just spring up in mind when the time is right. There's no need to try and force it. You can just relax and the answers will come through when your unconscious has worked everything out enough to let you know. And as you approach the clearing, you notice the most beautiful lake. Such calm water, where as you gaze across the lake, the water's so calm that the reflection in the water is almost indistinguishable from what it's reflecting. And you're aware that if you took a photo and turned the photo upside down, people probably wouldn't be able to tell which one's the water and which one's the sky, which one's just a reflection. And you'd never seen a lake as still as this. And you felt it was really odd that this lake should be so still, given there was the most refreshing, beautiful breeze on your skin. Because you would expect the breeze to move the water. And as you approached the lake, you could see a sign, and so you walked over to the sign. And on the sign was some writing. And the writing said, "Pick up a stone and throw it in, and watch how it sinks to the bottom. And keep your eyes firmly fixed on the stone. Don't be distracted by the ripples of the lake. Don't be distracted by any other movement. Don't be distracted by sounds. Just keep your eyes focused on the stone as it hits the water and sinks to the bottom. And keep your eyes focused on that stone. And you'll gain inner discovery. And then there was an arrow pointing down beneath the sign to some purple stones. And next to the purple stones was a small sign saying, "Pick the stone that feels right for you." And so you put your hand in and you began to feel the stones. You could feel how some were rougher than others. You could see how some were shinier than others and some were more matte and unreflective. You could see how the stones were all different shapes and different sizes. They all had different textures. And so you felt the different stones in your fingertips, feeling the weight, the size, the shape, until you found one that felt right, felt comfortable for you. And once you found that comfortable stone, you threw it in the lake, and you let your eyes follow the stone through the air as it arched towards the lake. You let your eyes follow the stone to the surface, hearing that sound of the stone breaking the surface, seeing the splash of water, hearing the plop sound as the stone entered the lake, and watching as the stone waved slightly left and right as it sunk to the bottom. And as the sign said, you kept your eyes on the stone as it sunk to the bottom, and while it was on the bottom you kept your eyes on the stone. And you noticed how the ripples began to spread out from where the stone entered the water. And as the ripples reached the shore, so the reeds by the bank began to wave as they were knocked about by that water. And as the ripples travelled across the lake, so they spread out further and further, spreading further apart as they travelled across the lake. And you followed the instructions. You kept your eyes focused and fixed on that stone. Out of your peripheral vision you could notice the movement, and you didn't let it bother you. You just kept your eyes fixed firmly on the stone. And after a few minutes, the strangest thing began to happen. Your peripheral vision began to go black, and the stone became even more clear, and you began to have a sense of clarity. And then as the lake became still, you noticed that between you and the stone was you. And it was as if you were looking into your own eyes, looking into your own soul, looking into your heart, seeing yourself for the first time. Not the self you normally see in a mirror, but your deeper self, your inner self. And so you took some time of peace and silence, feeling a slight sense of excitement with your discovery. To begin to gain that inner discovery from the weird, reflective nature of this lake. And how that is somehow connected to a stone entering a lake, creating ripples, yet everything becomes still, like nothing had happened. Yet you're aware something had happened. You're aware something entered the lake, and the lake is different to how it was before you arrived because of your actions. And yet on the surface it looks no different, but deep down something has changed. And so you take some time of silence to discover the inner meaning, to make inner discovery. That's it. Then after a while, you feel you've been discovering something and learning something deep inside your mind. And so you begin to walk away from the lake. You now know where it is when you want to come back here again. And you walk away from the lake, back through the woods. And as you walk back through the woods, so you walk deeper and deeper, and drift deeper and deeper, and fall asleep comfortably, easily and effortlessly. And you can take as long as you like to absorb yourself in the process of walking back through the woods, knowing unconsciously there's a lot you've learnt. And so you can enjoy taking a nice leisurely stroll back through the woods, going deeper and more comfortably asleep.